The bases are loaded. 2 men are out. It's the tying run at the plate. Paul Blair is there. He's flying to center, struck out and popped to short. Nolan Ryan is to do the pitching.
Can I kick it off?
Herbert to throw on third and goal. Tips it in the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown. Chargers strike. Touchdown. Dante Hall. 92 yards.
That one, a towering fly ball to left field. It is deep. It is back.
He's not going to make it. It's 7, 8, 9, and 10. He knocks them out. In the
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Over the Years Sports. I am Tim, and I'm sure you guys already know who this guy is right here. I always get the this mixed up.
No, you're right. Like,
I do it
the other way, yeah.
I'm sure you guys know who this guy is. If you don't, this is Cary from American Arbitrage Cards, amongst a million other things. It's interesting because I always like. Cary and I are very similar in so many different ways. We both like to joke and have fun, but we're actually both very intelligent people. Cary has 3 degrees. I don't have any, but I do have street degrees, if that counts.
Do. They're more valuable, honestly, if we're going to be honest. My 3 degrees are pretty worthless.
But yes, he does. We both do a lot of different things, you know, as far as content creation goes. You know, what we do for reselling in the cards, and then, you know, we have our districts, and we're doing whatnots, and we're just all over the place. And I will tell you that I have had the opportunity to actually hang out with Cary in person. He is absolutely 1000% genuine and a straight up really, really nice and cool dude. Big shout out to Cary and Dawn, who we all got to eat dinner together here in DC.
We love you, man. You know that.
So
you're the dude, man.
For those people that might not know you, why don't you just give everybody a brief introduction to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a full-time reseller since 2011, about halfway through the year. Unceremoniously fired from my illustrious job at In-N-Out right after college, like you're supposed to. And I got into reselling instead of going back to school, which is what my plan was, to go be a professor. And yeah, I just started reselling, I remember the early days of YouTube reselling, which is kind of similar to the sports card YouTube space. Like, there was only a few people. I was grasping on anybody who would teach me anything about reselling and learning from that. And I opened up a store, like a physical location antique shop, within like a year and a half of starting full time. Did live. I've done it all, man. I've done live auctions in person. I've had the 3,000 square foot store. I've been to the, flea market selling. I've gone to card shows back in the day and sold. And so I've done a little bit of everything, but yeah, I'm a reseller at heart. It's what I love to do. I mean, maybe it's just me not wanting to go do a professional style. Yeah. Like I've always, like, I didn't realize, I mean, everybody kind of hates them, but like, one thing I've been good at and blessed in my life, or blessed with in my life, is I've had the ability to survive doing what I want.
Yeah.
And with technology expanding in the last decade or so, it's like gone beyond, surviving to like thriving at times, which is awesome. So the content's been a big part of that. I started my main channel 4 years ago. My first video ever on my main channel, American Arbitrage, is like how to sell sports cards. So it was always a big part of what I did. And I kind of went away from that on my main channel because it was, I think, confusing people. So I started up my separate card channel like March of last year at Burbank, or February, right after Burbank, the first one or second one last year. And yeah, I've been going hardcore on that and my main channel since. And I love flipping cards, man. I've done it since I was a kid. I've collected since I was a kid. It is the one thing, dude. Like, if I didn't resell and I had a normal job, it's the one thing I would continue to go buy and collect. I would just collect it. I would put it in a binder like I did back in the day, with stickers of what they were worth, with no idea how to sell them. But I would know what they're worth. And
I saw I don't know if it was a short or a post or something like that, but I saw you starting your PC binders with Ostertag and Sharif.
Yeah, dude. Sharif was like, I think it was just because like I always wanted to be a little bit of a contrarian. Everybody was that year, 96, 97 is like one of the best NBA drafts ever. Kobe, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, all those guys. And Sharif is kind of like the unsung hero of that draft. He was a 20-10 guy most of his career.
Yeah.
Didn't play on any great teams. He's also like the president of the G League. So I mean, there's like a shot, and he becomes the NBA commissioner someday. So like he's had a wildly successful life. He's an interesting guy. So I've been a big fan of him and Jerry Stackhouse. Like I love for PC, it has to be dudes that aren't super valuable because I'm too much of a picker.
Yeah.
Like even if I got a really valuable Sharif Abdul-Rahim card, I'm gonna sell it. I just if I got it at the right price. But part of the fun is they're not worth too much. So I don't have any impetus or desire to sell them.
See,
So
for me, that got a little bit difficult recently because, as you guys see, I'm a huge Orioles fan. And like for years, it was like the Orioles had nobody, you know what I'm saying? As far as
Yeah.
what it came to, and then all of a sudden now they have one of the best young farm teams in all of baseball. You had Gunnar win Rookie of the Year this year. You got Gunnar, Adley, Jackson Holiday's coming up, and it's just like it's gotten super expensive. So I kind of, as far as Orioles go, like I have like my Cal Ripkins and stuff like that, but I really focused on like some of the guys I really liked, not like the old school guys, but like some of the newer guys like within the last 10, 20 years. Adam Jones is one of like my favorite Orioles ever. So like I've been, stacking up on some Adam Jones cards, but you're 1000% right. Like it is so difficult to do that. I guess because we are pickers at heart, but to not like, so there's some things that I do, but I think collecting oddball stuff too has kind of made things a little bit easier for me. Like I like to find weird stuff, and for some reason it's hard for me to like let some of that go. Like I got this Tiger Woods jumbo upper deck card numbered to like 3,000 or something like that, but like I found it like on like a dollar table at Chantilly Card Show, and I was like, I have to have this because Tiger Woods changed everything for me. Like I got into golf because of Tiger Woods. Like where I come from, nobody plays golf.
Yeah.
But like we saw Tiger Woods, and man, we were up at the golf course, and they were looking at us like, yeah, we're gonna have to pump the brakes a little bit, guys. But like stuff like that, I think it's important to kind of have that in the hobby for sure. So when you were young, is there a gap in between your collecting and cards? Because for me, there was a huge gap. What was your gap like from like your young age? Because at 8, 9 years old, I was flipping cards at the flea market. But then like as I started playing sports and, I got into like high school and the life that I don't live anymore, I kind of like I forgot about sports cards, like literally just forgot about it because, a lot of us we were duped because in the 90s, we all thought we were going to be millionaires. You know?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
And it was tough because when they kind of like dropped the bomb and we all realized like these are not 52 mantles that we're holding on to.
Exactly.
Like, and so like, I just kind of forgot about cards. What was your gap like from collecting and selling as a kid to now?
That's a good question. I've had several small gaps, but I didn't have like a 20-year gap or anything like that. So I started collecting in 1990. My older brother, Danny's 13 years older than me. He gave me a shoebox full of cards. And it had like 77, 78 Topps football for some reason and 1990 Donruss baseball. The football was interesting, but the baseball, like Delino, the Shields rated rookie, like that stuff and the bright paint speckled red borders. I mean, that got me into it like hardcore. And then from probably 90 to, all the way, definitely to pretty much 98, 99, almost every year I was into it. There might've been like some month periods or 6-month periods I wasn't super into it, but I remember trying to get 92 triple play packs or 93 because they were cheap and they were like under $1, and I loved that. But then I remember moving up to Utah in 94 and then, going to the mall and like a Flair football pack from 94 or something, like it was like $5. That was expensive. And my parents bought me one with my allowance or something. I remember getting that. And then I'd go to Kmart in the mid 90s and get like the scoreboard stuff, the stuff Ken Golden used to be a part of back in the 90s, and get like the collector's choice because it was so cheap, baseball, football, or basketball, whatever was available. All the way up to like 98, I was heavy. Like I was Randy Moss's rookie year, Peyton Manning's rookie year, Ryan Leaf. Part of my binder now, like I have a Topps Chrome Ryan Leaf card, which blows my mind. That was like a Grail card for my as a kid. Like I couldn't afford that, and I didn't get it in a pack. And then 99, I went heavy, and then so I was a sophomore to senior, like 2000 to 2002, didn't do really any collecting in that period, which would have been nice with football with Tom Brady. I was heavy on the Ricky Williams 99 class and Edgerrin James, and nothing pretty much in the Tom Brady year. And then I went on a Mormon mission for 2 years. So I was gone for the whole LeBron thing. So I guess I was gone for like about 5-6 years. And I came back in like 05, 06, give or take, and got into it, did a lot of 06, 07 basketball, especially 07, 08. I remember going, I think it was Dave and Adams. And I was broke most of the time because I was going to school and just working a job when I felt like it, because I was living at home. I didn't really have any bills. So I bought like a box of UD rookie some box that had KD rookies in it and one autograph per box. And I think I got like AC Earl, or not AC Earl, AC Law. Didn't get a Kevin Durant rookie auto. And it was cool because that period, like I had put some stuff in boxes, not even in top loaders, not even in sleeves or anything, and separated like my 2008, 2009 Kobe LeBron Topps card and the one where LeBron's throwing up the chalk. Found those. My mom gave them to me like 2 or 3 years ago, and the best time possible. And I made like $400 on them, and those were put aside because they were like dollar cards. I'm like, oh, those are cool. Put them aside. They're not going to go in my miscellaneous box, or I don't know, get tossed at some point by my mom. They were in a special area, like on my shelf. So yeah, I've been doing it and dude, I can't think of a time where I wasn't doing it a little bit, off and on.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool because for me, like I said, like I just like I didn't even know that they were making cards anymore. I just thought like they completely like the industry had just like fallen. And it's crazy because like I'm like a hardcore sports junkie. Like I have the football channel. Like I played sports in high school. Like I played sports intramurally after that, like all the way up into my wife and I played on a football team together before we were awesome, even dating. And like, that's one of the things that kind of brought us together. And it was like, it's crazy to think about now because, when you think about the 90s stuff, right? It was like we all had Beckett's, right? There was no internet. Like I had my card shop that I went to. My favorite basketball player growing up was Penny Hardaway. Like that was my dude.
A good one.
Absolutely. Like I've never owned a pair of Air Jordans in my life, but I've had every single pair of Anthony Hardaway shoes.
I don't blame you.
And it's just like, and so for me, like I remember, having like buying cards and packs and stuff like that. And it was like superstars meant a lot. It didn't matter what was going on. Like if you were a superstar, like a Dikembe Mutombo card had value. A Patrick Ewing card had value. There was commons, right? But it was more, it felt like more cards were worth money at the time. It wasn't obviously not the same amount of money as it is now, but like base cards had value even though they weren't rookie cards back then. That's what I feel like.
I think I wonder what the reality of that was. Sure, it was because the Beckett, but it was a different time eBay, I guess technically was around in the mid 90s, but like pre really being able to sell them to the world like we can now. So a lot of those prices, like if you actually went and tried to pursue selling them, I don't know what we could have really gotten. We might've been able to probably get a lot more for base back then, I would imagine. But
yeah,
like,
and I mean,
now it's really simple to know what a card's worth. Like try to sell it. If you can sell it, you know what it's worth. If you can't sell it, then you're either overpriced or you got something that's not good.
Yeah. And so for me, I found cards because I'm a big Gary Vee guy. Like it's everybody who watches any of my content or channels or knows me knows like I've been following Gary Vee since, he was selling wine basically. And so I remember watching him one day and he was talking about like some Giannis cards. And I was like, the hell, what is Gary Vee talking about? And like, it opened my eyes. I was like, there's like a whole world of sports cards. And this is right before COVID. And so like, not like it's right before, but like, like within a year before COVID hit. And I was walking through a Target and I walked up to a shelf and it had cards. First of all, that blew my mind because I only knew that you could go to, for me, it was the House of Cards was the card store. That was where you got your cards from. There was nowhere else to buy cards. KB Toys had some cards here and there.
KB had great. They always had wild cards. Do you remember wild card?
Oh yeah.
Always at KB.
And so I bought a pack of Contenders and I went home and it was Contenders football, which is funny because that's like one brand, like one line or set that I absolutely like just cannot stand, right?
Yeah.
And so like I opened up the contenders and I pulled a LaVisca Chenault Jr. rookie card number to 10. And I was like, the crazy part is I didn't even know it was numbered, right? And I was until like maybe like 6 months after I had the card, but like the card looked dope, and I was like, I was hooked. Okay, but then the problem is having to completely relearn the hobby. Like there was no serial numbers in like Upper Deck, and like I didn't know Upper Deck didn't exist anymore except for hockey. Like I was like, where is like my Upper Deck, where's Fleer Ultra? Like I had to completely relearn the hobby. And so for me it was like it was difficult at first because like I wanted to get back into it because Gary Vee told me to, and I was like, man, just opening that pack brought back so much memories and so much joy. It was like the weirdest feeling in the world. And I was like, oh my God, like I forgot all about this. And then COVID happened. And, like I got into, so COVID happened. I got into basketball, drew me back in because it was just the timing. So like Ja and
that
Zion,
rookie class,
that rookie class,
was amazing.
It was crazy. So like, and then that was the first year they dropped Mosaic Football. And that was when I first started buying into breaks. And it was just like, it was this whole wave of this world. And so for me, like I got back into it hardcore right around COVID. So I don't know, like all I knew was COVID prices and stuff like that. And so like a lot of times you're hearing people complain about, the market is crashing, right? Sports cards are crashing, this and that. This is something that we see when it comes to YouTube and Instagram.
It's honestly a lack of perspective on the history of the business is what it is. It's people coming in during the boom and not understanding that it's not crashing so much as it's going back to normal.
Correcting.
And it's like I said, I don't know if you watched some of my videos back then, but I used to tell people on lives and stuff like that on my main channel, I'd be like, it's going to probably, who knows when it's going to stop going up, and it's going to go down inevitably, I assumed. But when it levels off, my opinion was it was going to level off higher than where it began. And I still think that's going to be the case. I think when it's all said and done, it brought so many people back, like you, like so many people back, and also so many new people that I would be hard pressed to believe that it would ever be less than what it was before.
Yeah, and I think that's the big point.
People don't realize that. I was getting in breaks. I remember getting in the Bregman year and getting Houston spots. I was, for my birthday, 2018. So I was like 35 or whatever. I remember I spent like $200 on Prism Blasters and got myself, all sorts of cool cards. I was hooked that year because I pulled in the parking lot of my business a Jason Tatum silver rookie that year. And I sold it for $250 that night on eBay.
Wow.
And or $260 or something. And I was stoked out of my mind, bragging to Dawn, Dawn rolling her eyes because probably knowing how much money I had wasted up until that point. I've been pretty disciplined most of my life because, I've always been on a budget.
Yeah.
Fortunately or unfortunately.
I think that's one of the big things too, is that like, I didn't dive, like, I didn't like go out there and buy, 5,000 Luka PSA 10s or, Trey Youngs and like all of that. But is there a regret that you had not taking advantage of COVID prices, one, and two, what was your best like flip during the pandemic period of the hobby?
My whole philosophy with like reselling, and I think this got kind of like beaten out of me when I started reselling in general, is like, at first I would get upset about like missed opportunities. Now I really don't care, and it doesn't bother me. Like there was definitely 1,001 cards I could have purchased at any given time and made some money. One that's not really a regret, but in hindsight would have been nice to have held on to. I was going to my local swap meet, 16, 17, 18, 15, before the boom. And there was this dude, he was buying collections and stuff from a local card guy who ended up being my neighbor when I moved into my new store. And long story, everybody knew everybody. But he was buying these boxes that were just filled with like LeBron rookies, typically like Bazooka, like the lowest end LeBron rookies. But at the time, I was getting them from him in lots, for $2 to $3 a piece. And I was selling them at a profit, a good profit, 1,000% profit, like 20, 25, $30 a piece. You know, if I had held on to those during COVID, I mean, Bazooka wasn't high end, but those would have been hundreds of dollars, or maybe I would have graded them or something. So there was definitely some, but that's how I've always been. And that's what I preach to this day. You never lose money. Like, I didn't lose money on that deal. I had no idea what was going to happen in the future. None of us know what's going to happen in the future with any given card. There's a lot of people who it'd be interesting to go back a year and just kind of tell everybody, you probably, you know, not tell them why, but you probably might want to sell your Wander Francos. Don't ask your Wander Francos. Just get rid of them. They would think you're crazy, but, you know, it would have been the smart idea, right? So nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, and nobody ever will, even with apps and all the market data. But one that I did really well with was another flea market find. This guy was selling his personal collection of soccer cards in 2020. You could tell he wasn't aware of really the market going crazy or anything. So I bought a really nice lot for like $20, had hundreds of dollars worth of cards. I went back again, and he had just some Prism base and a couple shiny things from 14 and 16. I got home, I looked him up. This was how wild the market was in 2020. I went home, I posted a few cards, a couple Luka Modrics for like $10 a pop. I looked up some other cards, they're like 15, 20. Wasn't exciting enough for me at that moment to like get deep into it and start listing it. So I just kind of set them aside. The next month, I like saw a TikTok about, dude, this Luka Modric, you got to invest in him. It might've been a Sasha T thing. I don't know. He was big on TikTok at the time before he got big on YouTube. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I think it was that day or within that time period, I got like 7 offers on my Luka Modric, like something crazy within a couple hours. And being a reseller, you know this, if you start getting like a ton of offers, especially on a guy on a card, the same card, you're like, what did he do? That's what I always think.
Yeah.
And I always go, you're a fool for giving me an offer. You just tipped me off. So I went and looked, and I'm like, oh, he got 3 touchdowns today. I'm going to take that down and put 10 more bucks on it or whatever, even if the market doesn't say that. And I've made money doing that in the past. But anyway, that ended up selling at full price. And then I went back and looked up some of my cards. And I had a whole bunch of good cards in the market at that moment. It blew up in August 2020. I had these base Cristiano Ronaldos with scratches, not refractors. I bought them in that $12 lot, had less than a nickel in each one of them, maybe like 12 cents in 3 cards, and sold them for $946.
Whew.
And I think they're not even worth 20 combined now, maybe $30 combined if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And that was the market, man. They bought them, I'm sure, to grade.
Oh yeah.
And I imagine if they had graded them quickly, that was a thing too. They might not have got those cards back for a year at that time.
I can only imagine. I know Ronnie, you know Heart Pickers, right?
Yeah, Ronnie Hart, yeah.
So we had met up one time, me, Ronnie, Cernock, and a couple other people. We had met up for like a pick at Mr. Buys a Lot. And he was telling me all about like bro, he had all, because he's a Boston Celtics fan. He had all these Jaylen Browns, Tatums. I mean, he sent it all to PSA, and I mean, I think it took like almost a year and a half for him to get all that stuff back. Like, that's one thing I'm glad I didn't like get too deep into, was the whole grading during the pandemic, because I think more people probably lost money trying to grade than the market correcting itself by itself. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the cost that they put into it and the time, like not physically having those cards and being like, I just need to list these now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's almost like people kind of got greedy to a sense. And like, people were just like, I'm going to send in this Hoops Kevin Durant for grading, and it's like
it's first appearance in a Nets jersey, you know, whatever that started. Second year Nets card, you're like, no, this is not a thing, dude.
Yeah,
never was a thing before.
Have you ever? Let's talk about grading a little bit. Have you ever like personally submitted cards for grading?
Yes, I submitted one to Revolution Grade. I did like an ad deal with them. I don't know why I did that. I just thought it'd be fun. They're nice guys. I probably shouldn't have done that deal though, looking back. And then next up, I did a couple with SGC. I didn't list them right away. They were Alex Magoo's or whatever his name is. He played for the XFL and was a backup, and I got him back fast, but I didn't list him in time. So I ended up putting those through Whatnot and maybe broke even. It wasn't a big deal. But I might go take a card or two. SGC is going to be in town tomorrow. I don't love it. I prefer PSA, but like SGC is so quick. It's tempting and so cheap. But still, I mean, I'm not a I don't personally like graded cards, like for a personal collection or anything. I feel to a certain degree like there are a lot of people making money on it, or at least a few people making money on it. I think it can be a play. I think it's a little bit, I don't know how I think it's a little bit of like they've kind of convinced a lot of people to grade when you really don't need to make money. A lot of times you can flip your cards quick and make a profit. And I think about this a lot with the people who are doing videos and buying like the super high end cards. You're showing us some great, some card. You don't even show us half the time if you're selling them or what you make on them, which is fine. That might not be the point of your video. And I'm definitely not the guy to do that on my own videos. So it's not a negative per se, but like, I feel like for every good grade you get, I feel like you're going to get a bad one. I feel like it kind of balances itself out. And if you just don't have that overhead, unless you're really good at it, and I know there are some people who are probably really good at this, I feel like a lot of people are just wasting time and breaking even when they could just not waste the time and sell raw or be really picky with what they see and send, which I know there are some people who do that. I'm not a big fan of grading. I think it's overrated is probably my short answer, which I should have given.
So for me, SGC, right? I kind of like for vintage.
Yeah, I've heard they're good for vintage.
You know what's crazy is the most expensive card it's ever sold, the Mickey Mantle, was graded SGC. I got to see that card in person, which was pretty awesome. But speaking of vintage, can you imagine how crazy the comment section would be if you dropped a video of you and me in Tennessee picking Ziploc bags of vintage cards?
There was wasn't there a Hank Aaron in one of those?
Yeah.
You ended up with the Hank Aaron, right?
I have the Hank Aaron.
Now, what was it, a 56? I forgot.
I
what
think
year
so,
it was.
yeah. So
that was
I want to send that in to SGC.
Do it. Yeah. See, I think you're right. I have heard with vintage, and I would have a caveat. I think if I collected vintage heavily, especially baseball, I think I would do a bit of grading because the encapsulation looks nice, and you can kind of really know what you have. And I could understand, and I definitely can understand why. And then it's kind of fun to level up. You're like, I got a 2. Let's see if I'll sell my 2 and get a 3, and then I could see that progression. I can see the appeal of it. But honestly, I'm not super much. I'm not a vintage head really. So for me, like I just love just a nice raw card. Honestly, I'm getting for my PC. I'll put a lot of them just in the sleeves. I don't even care because if it's that's kind of liberating to me because I'm always worried about making money on stuff. It's kind of a liberating feeling to just be like, I don't care if this gets bent. Who cares? I'm not selling it. I'm not going to sell it. I don't care if it's bent in half or cut in 2. Who cares?
So as far as selling cards go, because you and I are both, full-time resellers as a whole, right? I mean, content creators, obviously your content creation is a PSA 10 and I'm a PSA 2.
Your stuff is good though, dude. Your stuff, you'll get it. It'll come to you because you make some of the more interesting content out there, some of the better stuff. I've always thought that.
So as far as that goes, that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Where did you? Because I know you sell everything like I do, right? But let's say like card wise, right now, how many listings do you think you have on just eBay?
Like 6,100, maybe 6,000, somewhere around there. And that's mostly because of the Card Dealer Pro stuff and a lot of this kind of lower end stuff I put on. Of like real quality, like I've been really thinking a lot lately about like
I know you've been talking about it,
like $5 to $100 range stuff, which to me is big. That would be cool. But yeah, I have like over 6,000 cards. How about yourself?
I don't know. It's a good question. Like I don't have a lot. I'm a turn and burn guy. So like right now, I think I only have like 700 total listings on my eBay. But I sell on 8 platforms. So
Whatnot's huge. Like this week I probably sold 600, 700 cards on Whatnot.
So let's talk about that then. Whatnot journey, because both you and I were on Whatnot pretty early. I mean, I think
you were before me, weren't you?
Yeah. I think so. It's probably been over 2-3 years now, at least something around there in August.
Yeah, I think I'm at like 2.5, I think. I don't know.
So I think it'll be 3 years for me in August. And it's interesting because I'll tell you that when I first got on Whatnot, because I got on doing vintage clothing, and then I kind of started doing, cards here and there because I had an abundance of cards from the pandemic. And I kind of, looking back on it, I will tell you that I regret selling a lot of those cards on Whatnot because a lot of those cards were Justin Jefferson rookies, Joe Burrow rookies, Justin Herbert rookies, Jalen Hurts rookies, just to name a
that
few.
Class in the 2020 football class was pretty insane.
Yeah, so I kind of worked my way up, and I kept playing with it to see what it was like. And at my peak on Whatnot I was probably doing like what you're doing now. Like I had about 50 people in my auction, you know what I'm saying? And I was running marathons. I mean, 8-hour streams, 10-hour streams. The longest stream I did was March Madness. I did opening tip off till the final whistle of the first round games. So it was basically like 12 to 12. And it was brutal. I was definitely saying Boston, like, Celtics when it was a Red Sox card at that point. But it's also changed a lot, in my opinion. And I feel like it's gotten, more difficult for people to sell singles on there. I know for you, it's a little bit different to kind of look at that perspective to a certain extent because, you put in the hard work and built a following, and I think that that's one of the most important things. But what do you think? And also the backlash that the app as a whole is getting because of some of the bad things that have happened from certain breakers on there. What are your thoughts on the current state of selling cards on Whatnot? And there is a difference between selling singles and doing breaks, but what is your thought on that?
I think it's a lot of work. I mean, like Whatnot can support 24/7, 7 days a week, single and break auctions on any one channel. You could do it. It would cost you a lot of money and theoretically make you a lot of money if you had people there. So that's the thing about Whatnot to me is it's just like a wide open desert or like utopia of opportunity. There's always, I could always do more. And it's hard to be consistent with what I'm capable of doing as a single person with Don. Like I don't have like a crew of people breaking or ripping or selling singles for me. But I think it's a massive opportunity. I think having a social media following helps a lot. I mean, I'm not a plans guy. You probably know that about me, but somewhere in the back of my head, I had the thoughts that having a card channel would help me do card auctions better and more efficiently and have more consistent sales and better sales on Whatnot. And that's really what I've converted my Whatnot into is almost exclusively cards now. Just because I make the same or more than what I make on my regular stuff, but it's so much easier to ship. That's the main reason.
Yeah.
And I love it. So it's a win-win. And then we have our own site, the Dib, that you have your one-stop shop. So I kind of do like my random stuff on there, or like my more eclectic picker auctions there now, or at least that's the plan. So I think Whatnot's a massive opportunity. It takes a lot of work. I would encourage everybody to start social media, whether it's just an IG page where you're showing pictures of your personal collection. It doesn't have to be a all-encompassing, 90-second short every day like I do, trying to get views and stuff. It doesn't have to be that crazy, or it can be crazier. You can do 7 of them a day if you want and grow quick. It just depends on what you want. But I think having social media in this day and age, I've talked about it on my own channel, is really important in business.
It is.
And you don't have to even be front facing, like where you're in front of a camera. You can film some stuff, technically have somebody else film some stuff. You can have the robot voice do it. You don't even have to use your voice. You can do it in a way where you're keeping your anonymity if you want. But I mean, I think there's so much advantages to just getting to know people. People know who I am now, and hopefully enjoy what I'm doing. And people come into the auction, not just to find deals, but to show love, to show support, to hang out. And sometimes I feel like it's almost like a super chat at times, like on YouTube, like people are just like, yeah, man, I like Cary. I'll buy a couple cards,
So all the links for all of Cary's stuff and my stuff will all be in the description of this video. You guys make sure you check that out. But one thing that we are both working on right now is our districts, and we're obviously, you know, everything that we've always done, we've always, you know, we're very supportive of each other, and like, you know, Trash to Cash and Resell Information Network, like we're all on the same team in the end of the day, you know, and
Yeah,
so
you're
like
Reseller Information Network if you actually want real reseller information. If you want nonsense that will not help you, Trash to Cash.
Trash to Cash, but
We're
it's
the
crazy.
antithesis. But together, hopefully, we're a super PAC.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to Trash to Cash every week. You know, like I listen to it if I'm not packing, or it's like when I'm in the car, you know, stuff like that. But like we're both working on our districts right now. Cary has Dibbed It, and I have One Stop Shop. Obviously, with, you know, Dave and Kevin for Dibbed It, and I have Eric and Cernock and Leroy on One Stop Shop. But I think I'm gonna be running my first single card auction on the One Stop Shop on District.
Nice.
I think this video will hopefully come out Saturday morning, so it should be Saturday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon.
Dude,
I'm gonna give that a whirl. You know, that's the thing too, is I think that sometimes you just have to do, you know, you just got to do it, right? So I'm like, I might as well try it and see what happens and who shows up, you know?
That's so important, man. I think there's a lack of that in general in reselling and in cards, is like you have to adapt to what's happening and risk. You have, and Whatnot is similar to what you're going to be doing on One Stop Shop or Dibbed It. We're going to have live auctions. So you have to have risk on there. You have to give people deals, and you can't. I've been on so many Whatnot auctions where people are just like bummed out they're not selling stuff, and I'm like, dude, you haven't built anything yet.
Yeah.
Or it's just a bad day, and maybe your buyers are getting some hell of a deals, but I'll tell you what, they're going to be stoked to be at your next show, and then that might be the one where you cash out. So you got to take those chances and build it. If that's what you want to have, you know, on One Stop Shop, you should go for it. All in, dude.
And I think that's something that's important too, that, you know, we're going to kind of talk about a little bit here in the next, like, you know, couple of minutes, is what you and I do is a little bit different than a lot of other, you know, card flippers, or however you want to, card investors, however you want to do it. You know, the thing is obviously I think it's important for people to know is that, like, yes, we sell cards, yes, we flip things, we're resellers, this and that, but we are collectors. I mean, you could see behind me, you know, and Cary has,
I got
you know,
his binder. I got my Ron Howard or my Ron, not Howard, Ron Holland. I don't know what side I'm on. That Ron Holland autograph ball, number 1.
You got that recently, right?
Yeah, and I got a Ninja Turtle from when I was a kid that fell over, but yeah, mostly just garbage up there.
Yeah, I mean, this one hurts me, right? I'm still bad. This one hurts me right here. That's a.
What do you think of the Commanders logo? I kind of like it, and I hear nothing but crap about it. Like it's terrible. I kind of like the whole vibe of your uniforms and everything.
I listen. I've been through it. So, like, you know, I grew up a Redskins fan, right? And then they became the Washington football team. I do a show. Like, it took me almost an entire season to finally stop saying Redskins and saying Washington football team, right? It got to the point where I just said Washington, okay? Then, literally, as soon as I finally get to that point, they decide that they're going to be the Commanders. So I'm like, oh, my God. I don't like the name, but I gotten like.
I don't know about the name either. I agree with you on that, but I don't mind the whole vibe and that you kept the same colors.
Yeah,
sorry,
the colors are important.
Yeah, I'm the king of going off on tangents, and I know you're being disciplined with your topics here, but I do have one question since you're.
Of course, listen, you know me
what
and
was
you.
up
We
with
can do this.
So Steve Spurrier? I'm talking Patrick Warwick era. What was with that one year they had the spear logo? Was that like a change completely? Because I liked that. Like
no, so that was a anniversary season. So that was one of the logos way back when.
Yeah.
And so it was the anniversary, like a 75-year anniversary of the team. That's why they had those jerseys.
See, I thought they had changed I thought that was going to be like their new thing, and then it just went right back, you know, to the classic jerseys.
Steve Spurrier time here was not good.
Yeah, no, he lasted 2 years and went back to college, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if he lasted 2 years. I can't
Very
remember.
Nick Saban of them. People like to forget about Nick Saban on the Dolphins.
Danny Werfel was our quarterback for a little
Danny
bit.
Werfel, I remember that. Yeah, you had Patrick Warwick. I remember he was going to be a stud, and I don't know what happened to that dude.
And then we had Michael Westbrook.
Westbrook, yes. Michael Westbrook. Skip Hicks. Was that the running back?
The
UCLA guy? Sorry, man.
There's a lot of those. And listen, that's one thing that's super cool too. when you go through the bargain boxes, there are times where you pick up a card or a stack or a box, and you're just like, man, what happened to this guy?
Oh, it's one of my favorite parts of bargain boxing. Is I always get such a kick out of, like, you hear all these people hyping up all these players every year, and you're like, this is where they're gonna be, dude. 99% of these people you're hyping up are gonna be here in 20 years, and I don't know if we're gonna have AI going through boxes for us, who knows? But whatever's happening in 20 years, people are gonna be going through and be like, oh, look, it's a Zion Williamson. Remember when he like ate his way out of the league or whatever, or whatever ends up happening, or he becomes an MVP. I don't know. Wish him the best, but like there'll be stories like you'll remember that. Remember 2019 when this rookie card was $300 and now you're getting it for $1, and people that are newer don't have perspective, just like anything in life. And they'll gain it over years if they stay in the business. Which
and it's crazy too, because there's going to be guys that end up in those boxes too early.
Oh yeah.
Like a guy like Brock Purdy, right? Like
Geno
he was like
Smith.
borderline, but it wasn't like that draft ended and people were like, I'm buying the San Francisco 49ers in a break to get Brock Purdy.
Yeah, hell yeah, nobody was. You're right. And I love that it happens even broader than that. Like, just think it like you were raiding the boxes and you got a bunch of Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm so happy for the dudes who had like the patch autos of Joe Flacco,
bro,
that are just like, they knew how much it was worth. And they might've been like me, like, just like, dude, this is $10. I'm picking it up, dude. This was valuable back in the day. And then just randomly he gets off the couch and throws more touchdowns in 1 month than Kenny Pickett has his whole career. And he's white hot. You know what I mean? Like, it's just insane. Those stories are what make the bargain boxes special, because obviously if you're a store owner, most people aren't checking their bargain boxes every week or ever once they put them together. And, most people are reasonable. So they're not going to like see you got one out of the bargain box and try to up the value. They'll just honor the price like a normal person would.
Yeah.
So you can find some great deals. Geno Smith was a good one, who was in bargain boxes for years and still is. And he was like a Pro Bowler last year, I think. I mean, he got
a fat contract.
I mean, he's still not. Here's the thing. He could throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns and probably won't have as much value as whoever the third ranked quarterback in the next year's class is, because it's all about hype. It really is. I mean, it's so much about the new thing, the new shiny player and the hype, more so than it is about actual production most of the time. So,
all right, let's talk. Okay.
Sorry.
No, I just, like, it's funny because like you give me ideas of things. There's so much to talk about when it comes to cards, and there's so much to talk about when it comes to Cary and Tim. But like, so, okay, I try to sell all sports, right? I started my collection was heavier in football, and started in basketball because of Zion and Ja. And then like I moved into more football with the release of Mosaic, and I wasn't really buying a lot of baseball. And then realizing that the difference in value between licensed baseball and unlicensed baseball was a slap in the face to me. I didn't really realize that was a big thing. And then obviously relearning the hobby, you figure these things out. Back in the day, you couldn't open a pack of cards and get an autograph. It wasn't like going to be an autograph in my 91 Upper Deck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they exist, but they're pretty tough.
So it's and now it's like I've gotten so hardcore. I buy soccer, I buy hockey. If I can find like mountain climbing cards, like I'm buying it. Right? Like I have a stack. Look at this. So funny. I got a stack of golf patch cards.
This is how you know we're card people. Like, literally, look, put one side. I'm going to go other side. I got cards on the other side and behind me. I got cards. We got them everywhere around us at all times.
So like, what is, and now like I've learned that baseball for me is the best because I feel like the player pool of value is larger than any other sport. What are you most heavy in right now?
Gosh, I wish I wasn't so like emotional about it. For me, it's always since I was a kid, based on whatever vibe I'm feeling, and it's typically seasonal based on what's hot like right now. Playoffs are about to start in football, so I'm getting and it's the word. I should be focusing probably on baseball right now. I have done a little better with that. But football's been the heavy thing the last couple weeks, and it'll probably change. Like a year and a half ago, before I started my channel, I had like the longest time in my life where I was like obsessed with soccer cards. Like, I don't think I'd ever had a soccer card time, and it lasted like 4 months where I couldn't get enough soccer. And I bought a lot, like, for me. And the cool thing, like, I was buying hobby because it was affordable,
Yeah.
kind of like
yeah.
baseball. Like, I can go to Legacy here in Vegas, which has like amazing card box prices. I don't know what they do, but they get them lower than eBay most of the time. And I can get several soccer boxes under $100 hobby, several different variety of stuff. So I was having the time of my life getting, Bundesliga Chrome, not the best product, but for 65, $70, I'm like, I'm getting a hobby box. But right now football is my heavy focus.
Yeah. So are you a off season, on season sort of like, are in the off season, are you buying low and as trying to buy low and then hold for the season?
I'm trying to get better at that. I have a hard time holding because I'm a big believer in selling as fast as humanly possible. But I created just this last week, like a big box of kind of prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to talk too much about speculation, but it's stuff that like I've gotten so cheap that I'm cool setting aside and waiting. I could hopefully lot it up if I need to and make a profit or break even at the moment on most of that box, hopefully. But I want to hold it. I'd rather just play it and see like if whoever has a big game week 1 of the playoffs, and
have
like,
you ever watched Let's Talk
out.
Wax?
I believe who hosts that? What channel is that?
That's the channel. It's called Let's Talk Wax. It's a
I
guy who does all he does is baseball prospects.
Let me see. I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah.
I will tell you that dude does some of the best content because he takes the time to really break down the numbers. Because a lot of times with like baseball, right? It's like
I'm subscribed. Yeah, I'm subscribed.
Yeah. A lot of times with baseball, it's like the product's getting released and like it's just like catches like wildfire. Like this guy is the #1 chase in this product, right? And so this dude kind of like breaks down like their actual like statistical numbers. And like he's like a stat junkie. And then he takes that information and correlates it to the products, the Bowman products. It's absolutely fascinating. And it's been really helpful because for me, like it's difficult because I don't want to buy the card of the guy who's the most expensive guy as soon as the card comes out. I can't do that. Like I want to buy the guy that I think has the best potential that is the lowest price point possible. Like I made killing on Davis Mills.
Yeah, Davis killed a lot of people, I feel like. Like he had a moment though. If you sold at the right moment.
I made a killing on that because nobody was talking about him during that draft class. It was Trevor Lawrence, it was Mac Jones, it was Justin Fields. But I looked at it like, man, you got Davis Mills, Brevin Jordan, who caught a touchdown pass last week. You had Nico Collins, who has come on out of nowhere now. He is a big stud. I mean, not out of nowhere to a guy like me, but like I remember watching you pull that Nico Collins in one of your videos, and I was like, Cary.
Dude, I took people gave me a little crap for that one too, and me, I'm cheap as hell, and I paid $25 for the jersey match one, right? And I got lucky. I mean, that was a tiny bit speculative on my part because he had a little bit of momentum. People were talking about him. He had a great season, and then I ended up doubling up a little bit more on that card, held it for a little longer than usual. But I've gotten to the point, like, once again, take anything I say with a grain of salt because I don't know any more than the next. But I've gotten to the point where it feels like just every year I should just buy an autograph of every backup quarterback. It seems like if I paid the right price, like I couldn't lose because somebody's going to take over. And if you sell that week, you'll make, hopefully, it would be cool to like track it and like see if I bought every one of them. I maybe didn't hold on to them all till the end of the year. So I ended up selling them all by the end of the year. So maybe some of them I just made my money back because he never played. But then just a couple, like if you had the Jake Browning auto rookie, like his stuff, I'm sure at the last Burbank I was at.
I've never even seen a Jake Browning card.
He's score 2018. I'm 100% sure I have like 10 of them somewhere in a box, just space, not autos. But like definitely probably floating around in those Burbank, probably to this day floating around. Actually, Burbank's pretty hardcore. They might actually go pull the stuff out. But to this day, they're probably floating around in bargain boxes, like the score auto, like the stuff that would be a $2-3 auto. Because like if not paying attention, like most of us, you didn't know he was even in the NFL anymore. So And there's got to be, that's what's so fun about this, man. There's got to be in every sport. In football, there's got to be 12 to 20 dudes who are floating around in the ether available in these bargain boxes that if you want to play the game and speculate, you could just buy and sit on and just, have fun with it. And, if you have the money to lose, there's really no harm in it. If you're cool
and bargain
losing the
box, it's not like
You're
you're
not
going out
losing
there
much,
buying
yeah.
a PSA 10
That's why I like
national treasures.
this whole speculation box I have doesn't have really any money into it because I bought lots, like I made my money back or I spent $1. So, if it works out, cool. If not, I'm sure I can get my dollar back, just putting it at $2 free shipping.
All right, let's talk buying now. Okay, let's talk buying. All right, because for me, like, I try to go to as many card shows as I can. It's tough to find. It's also tough because like Saturdays we're yard selling, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough to. I try to find some stuff at yard sales, but a lot of because of the after effects of COVID, people have like 88 Donruss and they think they have like national treasures, right? And they're just it becomes tough sometimes. But like card shows, I do the bargain boxes at all the card shows. I go to I have 2 card shops that I go to that I'm fortunate that are in, one that's like 20 minutes away, one that I drive an hour and 20 minutes to, but they take such good care of me. I don't know if you ever seen that video. Check it out. I did a tour a couple of videos back on this channel of this card shop. Dude, it is so awesome. They have like an event room for like the kids where they host parties and stuff. They got arcade, they got basketball, like all that stuff. They got bargain boxes, everything. So it's a really dope place. But so what are your top, like, put it in an order of how you like to buy? Because I know you've been doing a lot of these collection buys lately. It is so tough. Like, what is your, like, how does that happen? Are these people coming to you? Are you finding them? Because it's tough for me. Like,
with social media, it becomes I have them coming to me a lot and I reject most of them because I'm so cheap. In general, honestly, that is a big problem of mine that I have to work on. But like I had a really good one from, like, if you know Death Pile Picker, which I'm sure you do, Mike. He just hooked me up. Like, he shouldn't have given it to me. That one collection I got that video on about 6 months ago. He hooked me up basically at his cost. So people know I'm one of the card guys in the, me and you, and I don't know who else, a couple other guys do sports cards within the resale community, the general resale community. So they know that I do cards. So I get a few of those people. I got like that summer we first met when I was picking across America. It was Trading Post Picker gave me his whole collection. Had a Joe Montana rookie for free.
I remember.
I
picked.
You did. You picked that. Yeah.
I picked your stuff. I'll tell you, I did get. So I still have.
Dude, I hope you got some great stuff, man.
I still have some left, right? Because like we were talking about earlier, like the funky stuff, right? There were these huge, the jumbo Donruss cards in there, and also there was like this little green tin that had like hockey stickers on it, right?
Yes.
And inside of there, they had the Italian Ice disc cards. I forget exactly what they were called, but man, those things, I put them in my Whatnot auction and people went berserk for them. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But yeah,
I had to, like, there was so much and we all
couldn't take it all.
I had to throw some of it out because we had I think a couple other guys, you went heavy into it. And I have the worst memory. So if I don't remember details, I apologize. But like, yeah, we all went through it and I filled up my car. If you guys remember, like my Honda Civic from that trip was chocked full of stuff because I was crazy. I don't even know how we drove across America, filled it up, and we sent boxes home, like bobbleheads and stuff. Every one of the bobbleheads broke, every single one of them. We're just idiots. Like as far as like how we handled the second year, I was much better. The first year I had no clue how to like handle it, and I had a small compact car. I don't know why. Good gas mileage though, so I guess that was intelligent. But if for buying, so you're saying like where's my preferred buying?
Yeah, like I mean, like we love bargain boxes, right? But like, how
collections are the best if you can get them.
Yeah,
but they're tough. Bargain boxes, I'm lucky in Vegas, especially 702. When you come out to Vegas, sometime we got to go because they're right off the strip. When you have owners who understand bargain boxes and understand how to mix them up and put new fresh stuff in, it's heaven. And they give you deals that are cool, not dealing with the 510, and then they put some gems in there as well, or they just don't check every single card. So I've been lucky here in Vegas with like 2 shops that are really pretty hardcore with their bargain boxes. And Utah didn't have it, but weirdly Utah had more card shows. But number 1 is card shows, and then buyouts, and then a card shop would be my ranking. But I typically have to rely on card shops because that's what's available consistently.
Now, are you doing any online buying?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Yeah, I mean, I picked up. This is my thing. Like anytime I'm at a sporting event, I just start getting obsessed with every player I'm watching. So I went to a G League game, the Ignite, and we got Ron Holland and Matas Bazulis, both going to be top 10 picks next year. So I was there seeing Matas just tear it up, and I'm like, I'm going to get an auto, a Leaf. I like Leaf stuff because it's good looking and it's cheap. So I picked up like an auto for $20. It's probably I can't really get a $20 shipped auto of his, at least last time I checked. So I got a pretty good deal. So that's just sitting in my box waiting. And the cool thing, like here in Vegas, like Jesse from yesterday's Fits, has connections with all those guys. So I have another Matas that I'm not selling that he picked me up. So I love being a game. When I was at Summer League, dude, I was going crazy. Like I was watching players go.
How
like,
awesome was that experience?
Dude, that was so cool. This was the wildest part of it. I put a little bit on my social media. The next day I got a DM and somebody's like, I'm at UNLV, dude. I'm like the ticket guy at UNLV. You want to come again? And I got a couple tickets to go back to the Summer League for free. And he was the dude. This is a weird story. He's the only person ever that's recognized me outside of where I'm supposed to be. Well, that happened once in another place, but in general, it doesn't happen. I'm usually at a thrift store. People recognize me. Garage sale, card show, places. If I'm at a dollar box at Burbank, I'm going to get recognized because I'm the dollar box guy on YouTube. So, I mean, it's not like I'm walking down Hollywood Boulevard and people are like taking pictures,
Yeah.
Nobody knows who I am outside of that. But I was like at a Mexican restaurant and this guy came up to me in his UNLV gear and was like, "Oh, I watch your stuff." And I was like, "Oh crap, that's wild." And then he ended up being the ticket guy, and I got tickets, went back, and every dude, and I was wrong on every one of them, unless I'm right ahead of time. Maybe I'm 2 years ahead. I was watching dudes light up threes, and then I'm like, cool, I'm going to pick up some Gabe Brown autos, and now he's in Europe because he's too short. I didn't think it through. But also it was like $2, so who cares?
Yeah,
like,
but
I'll just put him in a box if he ever comes back, and it was fun.
The experience of the Summer League, I mean, like that's like kind of like something like I want to like check off on a sporting event sort of bucket list because like the atmosphere is crazy
next year. Yeah,
atmosphere is crazy, right?
Yeah, no, the atmosphere is insane. It's and we're sports people, so like I was walking through the corridor, I'm like, O'Donnell Foyle, holy shit, that's Ronnie Brewer. He played on the Jazz, and he's like the coach of Arkansas now. Like everybody. And it was all like they're all old and fat and bald now, and it's because they, but in my head, they're still 25 and ripped,
they're still ready to go
they're
like
still
that
about to dunk on everybody. So like I'm like the only dude who like got excited that O'Donnell Foyle, who's really high up in the NBA. I think he's in like one of the program, like he's an important figure in the NBA, but he's not like playing obviously anymore. And most people wouldn't know. I found that fascinating to be walking around all these people and just knowing who they were and how life changes. And these people were, traveling the world, making millions of dollars. And now they're, just kind of regular dudes again. I found all that fascinating. And then I'm too shy to go up and get autographs. I can't do it. Like I have a real hard time with that. So I'm not shy when people come up to me, but I'm shy going up to people. That's something I realized about myself doing content creation. Like, I don't think in our other world, Harry Tornado, I think I didn't even talk to him for the first little bit that I met him because I was intimidated by him and found out he was a really nice dude. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I picked up a couple of autos today, and I thought of you. I picked up Raymond Felton auto.
Dude, love it. Bobcats.
Picked up a Devin Harris auto, who was super
Utah
underrated.
Jazz. Super underrated. He was really good when he was on the Jazz, the Nets.
Yeah, and then
number 8 pick, I think.
A Drew Gooden. Picked up a Drew Gooden,
dude.
Kansas
Do you remember that era of like when he was on with LeBron and he would always do like he would do the double braided goatee. Like he just always he was like the Scott Pollard of the 2000s. Do you remember Scott Pollard? Just always coming up with the craziest hairstyle.
He had the crazy pork chops too.
Yeah, dude, that dude was wild. Yeah, he played for Cleveland as well. So yeah, you get me in like the late 90s, mid 2000 basketball is my jam. Like 100%.
What do you? For those people, because both of us are bargain, we're diggers. I tell people all the time, like, I usually get next to people and they're like set builders, because when I look at like the card people, right, it's almost like, okay, you have your set builders, right? You have your box diggers, who in times are two in the same, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
times when people who
A
are
lot of
trying to
times
build
they are.
sets, they're digging through boxes.
Like
Then
a
you
lot
have-
of times they're like 65, 70, and they got their written sheets they're going through and marking off. Dude, there was a dude at the bargain box yesterday at 702, or not yesterday, but last time I was there, looking up prices in a Beckett. And I was
I
like,
heard you talking about that.
I was like, I was so floored. I'm like, dude, this is like I'm time traveling. Did I time travel? It was pretty wild.
So there are people that for vintage cards, they're still using Beckett for vintage cards specifically, because a lot of times with the vintage cards, they might already have a card, but like they're trying to like you were talking about earlier, they're trying to upgrade the version that they already have into a better, quality version of the vintage one. But and then you have like your showcase bros who,
Showcase bros, that's a good one.
they just, because a lot of times I will tell you, I've run into some people before. I've been at the Chantilly. I go to Chantilly every time it's here, right? It's one of the biggest card shows out there now. Like all of the big names, all the big content creators, they're all there, right? I've seen the whole like spiel about like, how much for everything. And it never really goes down the way that you think it does. Yeah. But like it's crazy to me to see. It's also fascinating to see how people set up at card shows, right? And like I've built relationships now with people at card shows. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that people take for granted in this hobby is relationship building.
Oh, so huge.
It's so important.
Maybe the most important, really.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So like when you go to a card show, because like I have a routine now where like if I go to Chantilly, there's like 3 or 4 guys that I go to first. Like I walk in, I say what's up to my people that have booths, and then I go to these 3 guys. And I always go first day because that is the best day to go for the bargain boxes, because Saturday mornings it's flooded with people and everybody's trying to search the bargain boxes. But when you go into a show, what's your like technique? Like do you have to just start at the front? Do you try to like walk around first and see like which table might have the most bargain boxes? Like, what's your technique?
I think I'm still developing a technique. Honestly, I haven't started going to shows hardcore since like maybe the last 2 years. I don't think I went to many. I went to some as a kid. So I think that's probably one of my weaknesses. I am how would you say? I'm a pretty freestyle guy in general. And I would benefit myself a little bit. It's actually got me thinking about my show tomorrow. Like I actually need to go to a couple dudes I know. And I built those naturally over time, like my relationships with a couple different people. Like there's one guy here locally named Kyle. He does like he worked at 702 and then now he has his own thing. He always has deals and I'll always get hooked up. So, I mean, that's where I should be going first, to be honest, but I typically get distracted one way or another. But so I don't have a strategy. I need to do a little better on the strategy, but I do have relationships. Basically, there's several people that I meet with every show, and they know what I do. They know that I do content. Content's a big help. People think it's a negative, and it's almost always a positive, because especially in the sports cards, more so than like our other niche, which is garage sales, people want the free publicity. They believe it'll help them. Sometimes I'm sure it does. So I get a lot of good deals because I'm making a video on it and stuff like that. But I have like 2 or 3. There's definitely like, probably 5 or 6 people every card show I'm picking up cards from, and they know me and they know I'm cheap. They know everything about me, because they watch. A lot of them watch the videos too, so they know. Like they pretty much know what I'm willing to pay. So, I mean, they would pretty much, like if I was picking out the wrong stuff, they would say, hey, you probably, that one I'm not going to be flexible on, don't throw that in the box or whatever. Basically, but like typically I'm not in the showcase. So it's typically stuff that I deal with, stuff that people are flexible on too, which is a big pro. Work with people, build relationships, and buy this stuff. And this happens a lot with reselling too, like at estate sales and stuff. If you're willing to be the guy that takes out a bunch of crap that they don't want to have to deal with, that's value to them, and that has a monetary value. A lot of the bargain box stuff pays for these people's, tables for the weekend if they're doing it right. So if they know Cary's coming in, that's a $200 bill guaranteed or whatever. Let's get them. Let's make them happy, because that's paying for lunch, or that's paying for our gambling later. We're in Vegas, or whatever. So let's hook him up, make sure he's happy. We're dealing with stuff we just want to get rid of anyway. It's stuff we probably a lot of times from breaks or whatever. They're not attached to it like they might be, a black one of one, I don't know, Desmond Ritter auto or whatever's hot now.
But okay, now this is another question. This is something that I deal with personally, right? And I'm trying to, pick your brain, and people who watch our channels, they kind of probably go through this too. At what point do you stop looking through a box at a table? Like if there's like multiple boxes or multiple, like, or if you're at a card show or something like that, like, cause like sometimes you'll go through 2 rows in a 4-row box and you might have only put out 1 card. Half of you is like, I got to get through these other 2 rows. The other half of you is like, I see the theme of this box, right? Because most bargain boxes have a theme to one point or another, right? So it's true. That's, to me, is sometimes like I get FOMO. So like I told Cary today, I was literally digging through boxes today for like 6 hours. And it's like I can
tell you this right now. They had to have been great boxes.
They were.
Because why else would you be spending 6 hours, dude?
Yeah.
You were finding stuff.
Tell me this. At what point do you have to start looking at the cards like this? Because, I have to look at the cards like this instead of like this, because my neck starts to hurt.
No. I mean, that's when we're getting older, Tim. Like, I notice, like, I start to get worn out going through bargain boxes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to start working out harder, or at all sometimes, just so that I'm in condition to go through bargain boxes, which is kind of pathetic, I feel like sometimes. But no, that's a great question. There's so many red flags and green flags when it comes to bargain boxes. Anybody listening that does card shows, rule number 1 for me, I would use the 702 method, which is the Kyle guide.
I love that. Yeah.
Just color code it. Do what it could be. Your bargain boxes could be $50 cards, a piece or whatever, but just make it like a color tape that you use to close it. All the pink tape, $1. That way, even if it gets mixed up, we know what the price is. $2, $3, $5, $10. Go as high as you want if you want. At some point, you probably want to put them in the case. But go with that model, because the biggest thing, and this is with anything in reselling, garage sales are the same, is when you don't know the prices. Like I probably actually should go back and find this footage and turn it into a short, because it was kind of me being a little salty with a person, because I put together some cards. They didn't have prices. Their price was dumb, in my opinion. And I just like put it back and was like, later, and I wasn't rude, but like, I was like, this was a waste of time. You're not going to sell it. Like, I didn't feel like they could sell it at that price. And they had somebody with a stack of I'm not picking out like their Brock Purdy rookies, like the stuff that the super liquid. So I just moved on. So if you're not priced, I'm going to take out a couple cards if you have good looking stuff, and I'm going to just do the old test, how much. And if they're come back like at a good price, then I'm going to dig more. And if not, I'm going to leave as fast as possible. There's some boxes that, like, even from people that you go and you buy a lot from, sometimes they haven't re-upped their stuff. It's not fresh. And you can kind of, like, I don't have a photographic memory of what they have, but you can kind of get a feeling of like, this is the similar stuff that they had the last show. But I'll tell you, like, you want to get me going, like tomorrow at the card show, like, have a couple Prism rookies. I don't care who it is. You get me a base kicker, I'm probably buying it at $1 tomorrow. I would be so hyped to find any Prism football or anything that just came out, like maybe some of the Bowman first stuff from the new Bowman draft.
Have you seen the Bowman football Sapphire?
Oh yeah. If they had that, I would freak out. I love that stuff. I mean, I don't spend a lot on hobby boxes, but I mean, the Bowman Sapphire, but the Bowman U stuff. I went and it was a good price too at Legacy. I spent like $125 on a box. I'm like, Cary, you're doing a TikTok, do a good TikTok on this, make some of your money back now that TikTok actually pays a little bit. So, I could hedge my bets where maybe I can break even if I'm lucky with the cards and some content. I pulled like a Jordan Travis Big Kahuna the first pack. So I was like, okay, this is good. I got a hook for a video. It was the perfect scenario for me. I got a hook for a video. I got a great card. and I got a whole, like, I already got all the pressure off. I got a hook for the video. I got a card that's going to make me a lot of money. I got like that rush of opening a great pack. And then I had like 20 packs left. That's the best feeling in the world. You're like, everything's gravy. I can just chill and just
enjoy the rip.
Because like as much as I would love to do it for, I'm definitely not at a point. That would be the only one of the few benefits. Well, one of the big benefits to me if I was like super rich would be just like to open without caring if I made money. I would probably still sell the cards on eBay. I think I would, but like I wouldn't care as much. So that would be nice.
What's the highest value card you've ever sold?
Dude, not crazy. I mean, I sold that Nikola Jovic 1/1 I got a couple months ago for 400 for a single card. That's about my high is 300-400 range. I need to work on that. I think this year is going to be the year. The next couple big cards I come across, whether they're in a bargain box or in a break of some sort that I get myself into, I'm probably going to grade, and just for the hell of it, The problem is like with the Jovic was my thought was, okay, like if I pulled a 1/1 LeBron, it doesn't matter if I,
graded or not.
Yeah. But like the Jovic, like he's already like not even playing and he could be out of the league by the time I don't know. And I know and that Flux wasn't a super desirable product anyway.
Yeah.
Do I really want, I mean, I could do SGC. I probably maybe should have done that, but like for PSA, it didn't make, I felt like I could get a pretty decent amount right now just because the product's fresh and hot.
Yeah.
And it did good. I think I got 400 for it, which was awesome.
That's a fantastic.
It was a break where I thought I was bidding on a different team. And I literally thought I was bidding on the Rockets. And then when I went to go, I paid. And then when I went to go watch the break, I checked again for some reason. I'm like, oh, shoot, I got the Heat, man. Because I wanted like Amen or whoever. I wanted whoever the rookie was last year, the rookies. And I wanted those guys. And I had looked up, all the autos, like the odds and everything. And then I was bummed out. I got the Heat, and then I got lucky. So it's just one of those.
Sometimes that's all.
I got that with an eBay gift card that I got at the Boss Reseller Remix. I paid $8, so like I only went in the break because I had a gift card.
It's crazy how it works. How it works. So you're going to a card show tomorrow. What else you got coming? You've been doing a little bit more lives. I didn't realize that the one that you did, what was it, last night or the night before last? I didn't realize it was going to be a live. I thought it was going to be like a premiere. I was like, this is what is this? But it was live. I went back and I saw it was like 1 hour, and I was like, it was alive.
I know, dude. I don't know why. Like I would do them more, more behind the scenes stuff. Like I'm not sure how much it messes. I'm worried it'll mess with my regular videos, but I haven't had a lot of time to go out and dig the last couple of weeks with the holidays. So I'm like, I want to put something out. Yeah. And then I'm going to be gone a couple weeks. So hopefully I can get a lot of footage from this card show, get a couple videos worth of stuff. But I've been doing lives. I like them. I think I want to
first live. I will tell you that first live, if you guys are watching right now and you haven't watched, I don't remember what the title was, but the one before this one, that was really, 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 really good. There was a lot of good information and, real information, real talk, like not trying to sell you a pipe dream. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make sure that people who are watching this, who might not be familiar with Cary, to watch that, because I think it was a lot of good information in that video.
I was really surprised. I got a couple people, including yourself just now, that gave me really good feedback on that. I mean, it inspires me to do it more, but then I feel like a lot of lives are just a lot of even podcasts. Like you'll just end up treading your same stuff that you like to talk about every time. So at some point, if I do them consistently, I may need to be more like a sports card radio, not talking necessarily about negative stuff, but like bringing up topics that are hot in the culture in the last week, so that I have something I can riff on. Because, I'll just end up getting in my, my own niche, my own conspiracy theories, my own things that, I had a couple people, because I went the negative of my first one, like the things not to do, and that's going to piss people off a little bit more. And I got like one person said a few things. I definitely bugged them. So I'm like, and I was just riffing, I don't plan much. That was, I took a couple notes. That was pretty heavy planning for me on my phone, and just went with the flow of the live. I like lives though. I've been doing lives forever, on TikTok, and they're fun. They're fun. I should do them more.
So are you going to try and go to a card show at Trash to Cash Bash?
I'm probably, I just know hanging around Dave, like Dave is a
Sports.
planner. Dave,
Sports.
he doesn't like sports stuff.
It's
And
sports.
I probably could convince Dave to go to like a card shop. Or
You
he
guys
actually-
went last time you were
he
down
did
there,
go to-
right?
This is the angle though. Like he got to film it. Like he got to actually like help me create it and do.
Tell them
you know,
there's
like,
comics there.
yeah, you're right. A lot of the. I don't know if there's any card shows there. I might go check it out. We're gonna
Or
be
a card shop at least, pop in,
Probably
take a couple 20 minutes in the bargain box.
I should try. I hadn't thought about it. I know that we're going to go to like, I don't know. I mean, I know Florida a little bit, having been there a couple times near Dave's, but we're going to go to the Webster Flea Market. Hopefully, this is the thing. Like for you two doing like the sports card content, I've had great success with the flea market sports card finds, the garage sale sports card finds. They did well on my regular channel, but they do just as well, if not better, on the sports card because it's just something that's just as interesting as a card show, but nobody's doing it because we're in a position where we're already out doing this. So if we get that yard sale,
do you double down on that? Like, do you double down that content, or do you cut it out of the main channel and save it for?
It's out of the main channel at this point. Yeah, I might share a couple little moments on the main channel, but like if I'm at a garage sale, like a perfect garage sale day to me is like if I could get a regular garage sale video and like it would be cool if I found a couple good card yard sales together, but just one. Like I had one that did so well on my card channel. The short did amazing. The garage sale video did amazing. And I bought like $30 worth of, I didn't buy that much, but it was just the scenario I think was really interesting for people because a lot of people in the card, I think a lot of people in cards are naturally interested in flea markets and garage sales because they're kind of offshoots of what we do at card shows and card shops, but most people don't do it because they're not, really only I feel like makes sense if you're, I guess, looking through the garage sales and going only to those if you're a sports card guy, or you're doing it like us, and you're just going to everything and you run across it naturally. But I'm excited. Yeah, I might actually work a little harder this year and try to find all the ones locally I can and make a special trip, see if I can get a video out of it and plus you can get a lot of deals. You're right that a lot of times, here's the thing. You were right. A lot of people think their 1988 Donruss is worth $40, but at a box of it or a set. But those same people think their other stuff is worth $40 too.
And they want it gone.
So that's the thing. You can't buy the Donruss. It's overpriced, but then, they might have, some LeBron James rookies that are, to them priced high, but actually priced low. And that's kind of the spot you got to be in with the garage sales. It's a different game, a different negotiation tactic. You definitely don't have to. And then just know if you make a video on it, you're never paying enough and everybody's going to hate you for just taking like these, like that's all you get on those kind of channels, especially with the shorts is just like I did this one. I didn't even do the second part because I didn't ever get around to it. When I did, I didn't feel like filming it. It wasn't that great, but I bought this shoebox full of cards, a Cary special, I would call it, like something I shouldn't have bought that I bought. It was like $40. I saw a couple 90s Kobe's and a couple Jordans.
This is the one with the furniture in the driveway.
Yeah. So part number one that these people didn't realize that we're watching from sports card land is that this is that lady or that guy in your neighborhood who does a garage sale every week. That is a professional yard seller. These people, right?
Oh,
every
yeah.
week.
Trust me. I know.
We do it to a certain degree. So it was that person. They weren't selling those cards. They were in the back, just because they were probably buying storage units. She brought it out. She went, like what I would say a professional garage seller would say. She saw that I wanted them. She didn't go too high. She didn't go too low. She did $40. And I was questioning it legitimately because it really wasn't worth 40. So I offered 25. I offered what I felt was fair. And then we ended up at 30 or something. And everybody just said, just give her another $10. I'm like, you don't understand. I mean, I did make money in that yard sale because of content, but I did not make money from the cards.
Yeah.
The cards, I probably maybe got 10 or 15 back through whatnot. And there might be a couple more cards in there if I dig them out over time, and it's fun to look at, it's entertainment cost as well. Right. Just to go through a box of cards is always fun, but yeah, that people find that compelling content wise in this niche because it's not different. It's like, if you can find the thing that's a little different, but still strikes a chord within the niche, that's where we all need to be with content, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's in the foreseeable future, the current pipeline? Like, you're getting ready to hang 10. What's coming up with Cary and all of the arbitrage branches of life?
Oh, dude, we're going. The big one for cards is I'm going to the card show 2 days this weekend. Then next week I'm flying out to Florida to hang out with the Trash to Cash podcast people, my buddies, and we're doing the Bash, which is like a get together. I think 40, 50 people. We got a dinner and mini golf set up, and it'll be fun. I'm gonna be there for like 12 days because I'm going a little early. Gonna hit it's gonna be a lot of fun, goofy content. I love doing the content when everybody's around because we can have those moments.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Like I was doing a video, Jake J Ride Flips, if you've heard of him. He lives about an hour and a half away in sunny Las Vegas. We went to the DI, the thrift store yesterday, and then I love going up to him. He's like, what do you think of this dude? I was like, what do you think of Harry Tornado? I went, Harry Tornado, yes or no? I just walked up to him. I'm like, Harry Tornado, yes or no? I'm like, I just want to get a fun clip to throw. Like, I love interacting with people and goofing off within our niche. I don't do that so much in cards. That may happen over time, but I'm going to that. Coming
National,
back
we'll do that at
National. Burbank card shows in February. Super excited for that. Probably going to try to hit in a perfect world, a California show every month. Maybe go to Phoenix. That's like 5 hours away. Hit everything in Vegas, which is like once every couple of months. I need to go to at least one a month, a card show. Go to Burbank Cards, which is 4.5 hours away from here.
How many times have you been there now?
3 or 4. I really need to go like every month. It's a fun experience. If you're like me, it's like Disneyland, Burbank sports cards, and Hollywood or whatever. It's like if you're in California, you have to go to Burbank. In my opinion, it's a rite of passage in the card industry, and they really do have it set up immaculately. It is bargain box Disneyland. Honestly, 702 in Vegas, when they're keeping up with things, is better value and fresher stuff. They don't freshen it up as much at Burbank, and a lot of it, at least, here's the thing, for the Burbank card show, they're adding a lot of fresh stuff. So they're going to be super fresh for the card show and right after and right before. But, now we're months away from the card show. They'll have a lot of the stuff that's just been in there for months and months. But in the bargain boxes, they do update it, but, as much as they can. But anyway, I'm doing that, and hopefully a lot of card shows, going to National, which is going to be awesome. I may fly out to some shows. It's got to get to the point where like the content, it will pay for everything, and then I'll feel okay about it. But right now, I would be in the negative if I did that.
I understand.
And, I don't need if the content is making the money, fine. But I might as well just make a video where I'm talking about what I sold on eBay card-wise and make the same amount of money or whatever. So,
Well, hopefully we can do this again sometime,
Yeah, dude.
Because I like I said, Cary and I could talk about 15 different things for about 10 hours, and hopefully we can do some single shows together and stuff like that. But I really do appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with me. It's long overdue. Like I said, if you guys are not following what Cary is doing across all the different platforms and everything like that, I highly suggest you do so. You can find all of his information in the description below. So make sure you guys go show him some love. Tell him that you saw him hanging out, two crazy dudes with beards, having a good time talking sports cards. I really do appreciate it. If there's anything else you want to say to the lovely people before I send them on their way.
Tim's the best, guys. If you're here, you already know it. Sub if you're not subbed. In fact, unsub real quick and resub just as a sign of appreciation.
We really appreciate you guys watching. For those of you that made it all the way to the end, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, YouTube, stay classy. Peace.
Stay classy, San Diego.